When building AI applications, particularly chatbots, you don't just want to release them freely onto your users, but rather restrict what they can say and especially what they cannot say. The holy grail for this has long been and still really is what's known as prompt engineering. There are courses for prompt engineering costing 500 euros, prompts with nearly 1000 words and much more. There is some pretty absurd stuff out there what you can read and see. But of course, some of it was also good because there were no real alternatives, but you have to restrict behavior in some way. For example, a bank's chatbot shouldn't be telling stupid jokes or insulting users. This can of course be captured via prompt engineering, but it would actually be much better if such messages wouldn't be sent to the LLM at all. This means we need to put up a first line of defense between the message and the LLM, and that's where guardrails come in. With guardrails, you define some examples for certain categories. These are vectorized by an embedding model. The user's request is then vectorized too, and a similarity search is made over these examples. If the request is similar, a standard response can be given, preventing the request from being sent to the LLM. This is much faster and with OpenAI models also significantly cheaper because you don't need to send as many queries to the large language model. Additionally, you can also save money because you don't need such complex prompts. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use NeMo Railguards. We look at the basics of the modeling language CoLang, how NeMo Guardrails function, and how you can use them together with LangChain. As always, you will find the link to the code in the video description. So first we have to install the package. We do this with pip install and then NeMo Guardrails. So this installs all of our dependencies. And then for this we have to use an OpenAI API key. So I've put my OpenAI API key in this .env file, and then I load it with the python.env package. You can install that with pip install and then python-.env. And we first find our env file and then load the environment variables from that file. So after doing the setup, we can now start with the basics of CoLang. To create a CoLang file, we can create a file with a .co ending, but we can also define it here in a template string with Python. A guardrail block is defined by 3 subblocks: user, bot, and flow. We use the define keyword to create a new block and attach a user, a bot, or a flow to that block. So here in the first block, we define that this is a user block, and this is the actual definition of that block. So that's the name of the block. And then we provide some examples. So we want some examples for a greeting like hi and hello. These are semantically similar. We then define what the bot should answer if we receive a greeting. So this is what the bot should answer. Hello there, can I help you today? So this is a deterministic answer in comparison to an answer from an LLM, which is always different or often different. And then we define the flow. You can read that like an if statement. So if the user expresses the greeting, so this is the same like here, then what we want is that the bot expresses the greeting we define here. So that's the flow. And now we also have to define a YAML content, and this includes the model. So we use an OpenAI engine, and we use the Text DaVinci 003 model to create our answers. Important, we only use this for the LangChain part of this video. So currently we use just an embedding model to check whether the user greeting is similar to these 2 words or not. So this is done with an embeddings model. The default model for guardrails is the mini LLM model, and you download that by installing NeMo Guardrails, but you can also use OpenAI embedding models like text embedding ADA 002. So if you want that, you can add that to the YAML content. I just commented out, so I use the mini LLM model for the embeddings, but this is up to you. And now we import LLM Rails and Rails config from NeMo Guardrails. So we create a config with the class method from content, and we provide the YAML content, and we also provide the CoLang content. So this is now our config, which we will now use. Now we use the config in the LLM Rails class, and we use it here in the constructor, pass it as argument, and now we've got an instance of that LLM Rails. That LLM Rails has got a method called generate async. So we have to use the async method in a Jupyter notebook. So we await the answer here, and we can pass in a prompt, and we just say hello. So hello is exactly inside this here. So we expect that we get as answer this. So hello there, how can I help you? This is the expected answer, which should be provided by guardrails. Of course, we first have to run our code. And then let's check it. And yeah, as you can see, the answer is hello there, can I help you today? So instead of just passing a single prompt, we can also pass a complete conversation. A conversation is built like this. So we've got a list, and this list has got multiple dictionaries, and we've got two keys, role and content. So the role is user. So this is the request from the actual user, and the content is the question which we provided here in the prompt, and now we provide it here in this content. Again, we run generate async, we pass the messages now instead of the prompt, and we get back a result. So hey there is very similar to this, but instead of just receiving a string, we also get a dictionary back, and the dictionary contains also a role and the content. And as you can see, the role is assistant. So this is from us, we are the user, and assistant is the AI. And the content from the AI is hello there, how can I help you today? So exactly the same as here. Okay, now we can use variables in combination with if-else statements to make our CoLang file more dynamic. So here we've got again the user and the express greeting. And here we can see this is the bot, which also expresses the greeting, and the bot can also express a personal greeting. Inside here we've got a variable, you can see that by the $sign. So we've got a variable called username. So if we make a personal greeting, we want to say hello, for example, hello Markus, nice to see you again. So now the flow looks different. So we can say the user expresses the greeting, and if we provide a username, the bot should do a personal greeting, otherwise the bot should express the normal greeting. So how can we actually use that? So we create again the config and the Rails object, because yeah, we changed the config, and now we do it like this. So nothing new will happen. We don't provide a username or anything. So we just get back, hello there, how can I help you today? If we want the username, we have to provide an additional dictionary. So the role here is not user or assistant, it's context. And in the content, we provide another dictionary, and here we provide all of our variables. So username is the key in this dictionary, and that matches the variable in our CoLang file. So the value of our username is now Markus. So now we pass that, and we can see hello Markus, nice to see you again. Okay, from there, now let's move to the integration with LangChain. So we again define our CoLang file. So this is the same as before, but now we define another flow, and this makes use of a catch-all term. So we provide the user and then the 3 dots. So if this flow does not catch the message by the user, we will execute this chain, and we pass in the latest message from the user as query to a Q&A chain. So we have to define our Q&A chain. Another new term is the execute method here. So we can define that we want to execute a function with this execute keyword. So we want to execute this Q&A chain variable and pass in that query. So let's first create our config with the LLM Rails now, and then we have to create our Q&A chain. So we do this by creating a new vector store, and our vector store makes use of Chroma. So we use the Chroma vector store, and we provide a few examples. So we have a fictional bank, which is for cats. So we offer credit cards for cats, and yeah, interest rates for cats on a savings account, and so on and so on. So we use that fictional information because in the answer we want to make sure that the answer is not provided by the LLM, which was trained in the LLM training, but actually is provided by our vector store. We then convert our vector store into a retriever, and we create a template. So the template tells the bot that you are a helpful bot for our bank and only answer if you got the content in the context. So we make some prompt engineering here, and otherwise it should answer in a friendly way. So in general, it's useful to still provide some catch-all phrase in the prompt. So we cannot catch everything here with that greeting, of course. So it's useful to do that in the prompt itself too. And here we've got the context. That is the context we retrieve from the vector store. This is the question we provide as input for our prompt. So we create a new prompt template. We pass in the prompt template as chain types quarks to the retrieval Q&A class. And here we create a new retrieval Q&A chain. So we provide the LLM, And very important, we don't create a new LLM with chat OpenAI here. So this actually maybe should be removed because otherwise we use it. But we take the LLM, which is stored in the Rails instance, and this has got the LLM attribute, and we have to use that LLM. Otherwise, the LLMs are not in sync. Okay, so let's run the code. And now we've got our Q&A chain. What we have to do now is register an action. So an action is a function we want to call. And in this case, we want to pass the Q&A to the Rails. So Q&A is the instance here, and we also can pass a name. So this name here, Q&A chain, has to match the name we provide here in our CoLang content. So let's also run that. So now we've got an action here registered, and now we can run role user, and the content is what's the minimum deposit for a cat's saver account. So let's run that code, and we can see the minimum deposit for a cat bank's kitty savers account is $500. So we extract that information from our vector store. So the combination works. But now let's ask another question. So what is the main character of Die Hard? So let's run that. And this, okay, that's actually quite surprising. I expected it to work. So maybe you should ask something different. Make a joke about a cow. I normally would expect it to make that joke or answer that question before. Okay, now it makes some joke. And we normally don't want to make a bot for a bank make that kind of jokes. So to prevent this, we also want to create another guardrail. So let's create another guardrail. So here we can see there's the greeting guardrail and also our flow. And now we create different guardrails. So ask user about dogs. So this is the user definition. Can I get a loan for my dog? Can I get an insurance for my dog? And so on. And to answer this, we want a no dogs policy. So here at Cat Bank, we're all about cats and we don't offer services for dogs. So this is the answer we want if something dog related is asked. And then we define this policy, this flow, dog policy. So if the user asks about dogs, we want to provide that. Then we want silly questions. So if we get silly questions, can my cat open its own bank account? We want that standard answer here. So again, we define a flow. So as you can see, this is always the same. We provide some examples and then the standard behavior from our bot. And then we provide inside here a so-called chit-chat class. So in chit-chat, we get this catch-all term. So what do you think about the latest movie? Got any weekend plans? Can you tell me a joke? So this is a catch-all term here, and it is below all the very specific stuff. So we go from specific to broad. So now we can say, sorry, I do only cat-related finance advice. Then we define the flow. And then after this chit-chat flow, we define that user flow where we execute our Q&A chain. So this is the last block of our CoLang file. So let's create it. And now we create our Rails. And then we provide first the username Marcus and say hello. So we expect now a personal greeting because we define that in the bot. And as you can see, hello Marcus, nice to see you again. Hope your cat's doing well. So this works. And now we want to ask, can you tell me a joke? So this should also not be passed to the LLM. Sorry, I only do cat related finance advice. So this also works. Okay, now I show you how you can execute arbitrary functions with CoLang, and I show you an example with doctrine. So we get some text and we want to extract relevant properties from that text. So doctrine is a nice library to do that. Currently the async method is broken and I provided a synchron method, which is normally not provided, so it's not implemented. And this is called transform document. So we pass in a document to that class and it extracts the mentioned branch of a specific text. So if a user asks where is Cat Bank South, for example, we want to extract the branch, and this is what doctrine is doing. So these are our examples here. We have the central Cat Bank South and North, and downtown Cat Bank. So if these are provided input, we get the correct branch. Otherwise, we return branch not found. So that's our function. And now we create a new CoLang flow. So here we've got our new flow, and here we've got our examples. So where is the central cat bank, where is the cat bank north, and so on and so on. So if that's the case, if that's a question about some cat bank store, then we want to execute the get bank branch address function and provide the branch as input. So that's our new flow we create, and then we can just run it. So we, of course, now we have two functions we want to register. So we registered the Q&A, and we also registered the get bank branch address function. And this has got the same name as the function itself. So let's register it. And now we can ask, wo is the central cat bank? Or in English, where is the central cat bank? So let's run this. And now it should make a query to our so-called database. Even it's only a dictionary, but as you can see, it extracts the correct bank, so central cat bank, and passes in here our result. So the address for central cat bank is 123 Feline Street, Cat City. So this is actually correct. As you can see here, that's the central cat bank. Okay, one last topic, and that is subflows. So let's have a look at the subflow. So first we make a greeting expression here by the user, and then we define the bot greeting. So we provide a greeting authenticated flow here, or an answer greeting authenticated, and if the user is authenticated, we want to greet the user by his username. So we've got a $sign and then the username. So this is a variable we can provide with the context, and if the user is not authenticated, we want the anonymous greeting for the user. And then we can define a subflow that's introduced with the subflow keyword, and we call it greeting with auth. So now we've got two variables, user auth, which is a boolean, and then the username, which is a string. So if that's the case, we want to execute this, otherwise we want to execute this. And we can use the subflow and use that in another flow. So if the user expresses a greeting, then we can run our subflow. So we can split more complex logic into different subflows. So what we're going to do is we want to call that subflow, and we do that with the do keyword. So if we say do, then we have to provide the name of the subflow, and that's greeting with auth here. So if you run that, let's create our Rails again. And then as you can see here, we've got user auth, and then we've got our username, but the username should not matter if the user auth is false. So let's run this. Now we get back, welcome to CatBank, please log in or create an account to begin. Okay, otherwise, if we set it to true, if we are logged in, then the username will be used, welcome to CatBank, Markus. How can we assist you and your cat today? So this works. Great, I hope you can see how guardrails may change the way we interact with LLMs. Instead of creating large and complex prompts, we can write CoLang files and prevent calls from our large LLM to even happen.